Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panahandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad to hear first week of September getting underway. Still have some storms and all coming through, but I know you're like me. You just got to keep your eyes to the skies, and you really don't know what to expect nowadays with the weather. It's just coming in from all over the place. Our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center. The high today is going to be around 85, and low tonight 71. But to me, the big news in the weather is the water temperature. It dropped 1 more degree. It's down to 83 degrees. So just a little slight drop right there, but that's the first of last 2 weeks. It's dropped 2 degrees. Our river readings, the Apalachicola Bluntstown, taking a look at it, it is at a 1.1. It's actually going to jump up next day or two to 1.5. The Choctawhatchee at Caryville, it is on the way up. It's showing that rain we've had. You're looking at a 4.1 now, but you're looking at the weekend, Thursday and Friday, we're looking at getting up around 7 foot if all continues like it has been. So it is really strong rising over there. Now, take a look at our tide chart. The tide chart, we're back in, looking today, right we're in the middle of the week on September 5th. We're about medium tide. We're getting a little bit out of the neap tides. We're going to have the average tide of about 0.8. Looking at the low tide, the high tide was really this morning at 12:16, and low will be this morning at 10:28. And it'll be coming in slightly after that. So we'll just keep an eye on the tide. Nothing really strong going on with it right now. Now, every Wednesday morning, I like to call Captain Blair Morgan down at Cape San Blas. He's really good offshore and inshore, and get a good report from him, see what's going on. Good morning, Blair.
Good morning, Winston. How you doing?
I'm doing well, folks. This report brought to you by Blue Water Outriggers right in St. Joe. I stopped by there the other day, and they were just packed out. They had so much good sales going on, and if you get a chance to stop by Blue Water, definitely want to do it. And all kind of tackle and clothing, anything for your boat. It's just I just walk through there every time. Blair, what's going on down there?
Winston, I tell you what, we finally had a pretty weekend where people get out and do some stuff. And I went offshore yesterday. Had to catch a pretty day. Seas about 1 foot. There was a little breeze blowing, so it wasn't real hot. We had a good day. We caught. We went out to about 140 foot of water, 30 miles offshore, and we caught some nice gag groupers, some pretty red grouper, and Sherry, she caught a 52-pound amberjack.
Wow.
That was just one of them she caught. She made me leave that hole. They was wearing her out. So she doesn't weigh but about 100 pounds, so that fish just kind of whooped her.
Oh, man.
But we had a good time, and I'll tell you, I was talking to you earlier about the sharks. I don't know what's going on out there, but most of the time, you got porpoises bothering you. And but yesterday we had sharks. We'd have a 15-pound snapper on and couldn't even get in the boat. The sharks were just biting them in two right behind the head.
Wow.
And then they would bite our live baits on the bottom. I mean, 140, 150 foot deep.
Wow.
And we didn't catch just one or two. I mean, we had to leave some of our holes because the sharks were just, you couldn't fish or anything without them biting you. And they were about 8 foot long.
Yeah, that's scary.
I don't know. They wasn't bull sharks. They wasn't black tips. I don't know what they were. They had great big dorsal fins.
Mm.
But they were just really aggravating us bad. I've never seen it like that.
Well, that's odd to come in, that situation right there. And how deep were y'all?
We was 140, 150 foot.
Yeah. Well, that brought him in there. Listen, did y'all catch any big grouper?
Yeah, we didn't catch any real big ones. We had a gag that weighed about 20 pounds. We had some nice red grouper, 12, 15-pound red grouper. We had a good box of fish.
That sounds good.
We had a couple of scamps, so it wasn't just 3 of us went, but we had a good time.
I was on a bay yesterday too, so I know Monday. How about was the weather really nice out there, way out?
Oh yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And a friend of mine was in Apalachicola Bay on Saturday. No, it was Sunday. And he said he saw a school of big black drum, big bull black drum.
Yeah.
There must have been a couple hundred in it. And said they was 20 to 30 pounds each.
Wow.
Just swimming around over there. So.
Well, that's good. And what about St. Joe Bay?
St. Joe Bay, they're catching a few flounder here, and other than that, there's not a whole lot of fishing going on. Everybody's scalloping, and they're finding quite a few scallops right on.
Okay, well, that sounds good. We're talking about grouper offshore, we're talking about black drum in Apalachicola Bay, and flounder in St. Joe Bay. That sounds good, Blair.
Okay, Winston.
All right, buddy. Thank you. All right, we'll see you, buddy. Thank you. All right, Captain Blair Morgan down at Cape San Blas. We'll take our first break and be right back with our guest.
A new Carrier heating and air conditioner system from Mills Heating and Air can save you money every month. Thanks to energy-efficient technology that can help lower your utility bill. Buy a Carrier system now from Mills Heating and Air. Turn to the experts at Mills Heating and Air at 850-234-8177 or go to millshvac.com. That's 850-234-8177. For lower bills, call Mills.
Come join the Panahandle Outdoors team. Beat the rush and stock up on our team shirts and hats in a wide variety of colors and sizes. For your convenience, we offer a Panhandle Outdoors shop at panhandleoutdoors.net. Simply visit our website and click shop.
You can also check out our selection at Sunjammers Water Sports on Panama City Beach. Come join the Panhandle Outdoors team.
When you need to get the job done, you want the powerhouse of engineering, reliability, and value that is Kubota. And right now, during our 40-year strong celebration, get 0 down and 0% APR for up to 60 months on new Kubota subcompact tractors, compact tractors, or zero-turn mowers. Join the Kubota movement, 40 years strong, serving the American dream.
See and save on all Kubota tractors and equipment at Sowell Tractor today.
We are so lucky to live in North Florida. We have some of the best fresh and saltwater fishing in the world. My biggest problem is not catching fish, but trying to decide what kind of fish I want to catch. No matter what I'm after, I always stop at Sunjammers Water Sports first. They have just what I need: rods and reels, line, tackle, and most important, live bait. Yes, sir, we sure are lucky.
Welcome back, folks, and welcome Captain Rick Corley.
Good morning.
Good morning. Rick, we were talking about, you just got back from a nice Alaska vacation. There's so many outdoorsmen who love going to Alaska. I haven't been there yet, but heard so many good things about it. And you brought us some pictures.
Yeah, I did. We had a good time. We
all
were
right.
up there.
Let's go through them.
All right, the top left, and we're going to work left to right and down. That's the town of Ketchikan. That's the 4th largest city in Alaska, and I'm up on top of Mount Rogers there, and we're looking down on the city. Now the train you see there in the center picture at the top, that's the White Pass Railroad, and goes up to White Pass where they went through the Yukon for the gold.
Wow.
And you actually wind up going into Canada from Alaska there, and you go up through the mountains there, and it's kind of an interesting train trip, because when you look out, you're looking straight down on one side, and you're looking at the mountain right next to you on the other side. But it's a fun trip, and it's real interesting. You see a lot of wildlife. The guy in the right picture there that you see, that took out of the train up there on the top right, I said guy, right there. That's a muskox. And then the one you had just shown on the left down there, that's my son. We were at Middleton Glacier, right outside of Ketchikan there, and he's standing in front of one of those chunks that falls off a glacier. They call him calving. He's standing in front of an iceberg calf. And of course, in the center there took a ship picture of the ship we were on, which is the Island Princess. She's 857 foot long, 77,000 tons. And I was up on Mount Rogers there taking a picture down on it. Then to the right of that is one of the glaciers up close, and in the bottom left corner we saw humpback whales doing something they don't do anywhere else in the world, and that is bubble feeding. They blow bubbles. It herds the herring into a small ball, and then they all get in the same position every time with each other, spread their fins out, and come up under them and get the herring. And I found out something I didn't have any idea of. The reason they eat herring rather than salmon is they have a very small throat.
Okay.
And they can't swallow the salmon, so they won't eat them. But they can swallow the herring, and they eat them. All right, let's see
Makes a lot of sense right there.
Yeah, it was fascinating to watch. The coordination between all 12 whales there was amazing.
All right.
And the next one,
we
got with Talkeetna Air there, and I got to fly right seat on a turboprop de Havilland Otter, a single-engine Otter.
So you have your pilot's license, so they let you drive.
Well, yeah, I hold an airline transport pilot license, and I got almost 10,000 hours of beating the air to death. Of course, I took a picture of the panel on the left, but you can see the center picture there at the top. We were going through what is called 747 Pass. It looks like a little narrow gap in the mountains, but you could fly a 747 through it. The mountains are so huge that it's kind of deceiving how wide something is, but we didn't have any problem flying through there. We landed up on the side of Mount McKinley there, and that's me, my son, and my wife standing outside the tail of the airplane. And of course, that's him standing under a stuffed polar bear.
Yeah, that's a big bear right there.
Yeah, well, it's a stuffed polar bear, and Kerry's standing under his paw. And the center picture there's, I took a picture out just so we could see what it looks like flying right by the mountains. On the right, that's me standing at the back of the airplane. Of course, we got some pictures of the airplane. The bottom left is a couple of elk, and one of them is a big bull, and the other one's a cow. And elk, both of them carry horns.
Both of them carry horns?
Yeah, both carry horns up there for self-defense.
Let's try it again, okay? The next sheet. Let's see how we look on there. We got one more sheet.
Yeah, well, we got two more right quick. All right, on the left, of course, you can see us coming in to land on the glacier up there. In the center top is a big old grizzly bear, and he's in Denali Park. Now, that bear, I thought it was kind of neat. He just, when he got tired of eating berries, he laid down and went to sleep right there. Yeah. He was there for about 40 minutes, and we were looking around at other stuff and looked back. He finally woke up and went back. Now, we got, of course, I ran a stern wheeler. I got to hold the wheel, and that's the only river in the United States I hadn't run so far was the Yukon, and I got to run it. That's a 156-foot stern wheeler, 34 foot wide, carries 900 people, and it only draws 3 foot 3 inches, fully loaded.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Okay. It's the Kinley family runs that, and they have 4 generations. And of course, they had it set up where this guy in this Super Cub landing on floats could talk to us by Wi-Fi. And of course, you see the big moose there. That's the most dangerous animal in Alaska.
I was thinking the bear would be.
No. The moose has got a worse attitude, and he's more likely to stomp the mud out of you if you get anywhere around him.
That looked like a lot of fun right there.
It was.
How long were y'all up there?
We were up there for 14 days.
14 days.
And recommend it. I recommend everybody ought to visit, and you'd understand that you're not at the top of the food chain up there. And you also have to understand those people live a totally different lifestyle than we do because of the it only was dark 2 hours. It was daylight for 22 hours.
Wow.
And the wild part was the sun didn't go over you, it went around you.
Okay. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. I got a 40-pound grouper, a picture of a 40-pound grouper caught at a carabel. We're going to show you in just a second, so we'll be right back.
Panama City Beach is known as one of the top dive destinations in Florida. Divers Den offers daily dive charters that can accommodate up to 13 divers. Our boat captain is U.S. Coast Guard certified and a PADI dive instructor. We have trained professionals who offer a variety of scuba certifications. Come see us at our 2 locations on Thomas Drive and Tyndall Parkway.
When you're looking for sales, parts, and service for your outboard, all in one location, you're looking for BJ's Marine, your authorized Tohatsu and Nissan dealer. BJ's Marine does it all. They have outboard parts and a service center and used motor sales too. Tohatsu, reliable, dependable, fuel efficient, and lightweight. Tohatsu Outboards, technology for the next generation. BJ's Marine, 1317 Transmitter Road since 1991.
A new Carrier heating and air conditioner system from Mills Heating and Air can save you money every month. Thanks to energy-efficient technology that can help lower your utility bill. Buy a Carrier system now from Mills Heating and Air. Turn to the experts at Mills Heating and Air at 850-234-8177 or go to millshvac.com. That's 850-234-8177. For lower bills, call Mills.
Blue Water Outriggers. Everything you need for outdoors. Whether you're fishing off the piers, surf fishing, or heading out into the Gulf, Blue Water Outriggers has what you need. Live bait, freshwater, saltwater tackle, rods and reels, clothing, marine supplies. Hottest brands, greatest prices, friendliest service. BWOfish.com. Shop online. Open 7 days a week, 30 miles east of Panama City. Blue Water Outriggers.
Welcome back. Sitting with Captain Rick Corley now. Rick's got some carabel roots, and this fish was caught down in Carabel. Rick, this is a 40-pound gag grouper, folks. Chuck Wheeler sent me this picture. He said, "Hey, Coach," he said, "hey, watch your show every morning, and I surely enjoy it. I thought I would share my catch for Sunday. A 40-pound gag grouper caught out of Carabel. We waited at sea quarters, and Miller said it was a 40-pounder, a personal best for me." Now, it goes on to say, some say that right after a big storm, the big gags hang onto the ledges in very deep water, and it was very deep water. In fact, it was over 200 feet of water that he caught it in, so that's a good
I bet
good
somebody
job
ate that old dead fish, too.
They probably did. And while I was on pictures and all, I was going to show you, I got this one, too. I get all kind of stuff. Every now and then, just something humorous I think y'all would enjoy, especially early in the mornings. That you can't buy happiness, but you can buy fishing gear, and that's kind of the same thing. So I thought y'all being outdoorsmen would appreciate that. You know, with scallop season wrap, we're going to have some video tomorrow from our final scallop trip this past weekend. So certainly don't want to miss that. Some exciting things happen on that trip. And Rick, you were talking about the locks that Jim would have down. They might be closing it up.
Yes.
What's the story on that?
Well, I listened last night to the Dothan News, which I don't always do, but just to pick up something different. And they were talking about that they were going to close the lock at Jim Woodruff.
Nobody uses them? Or?
Well, people have to understand, when they fussed about the tows going up and down the river, when they leave, there's no justification to maintain that river or to keep the locks open. So
by the Army Corps of Engineers.
That's right.
So
that's their justification. People up in New Jersey fussed about all them nasty old tows going up and down the intercoastal waterway. So they said, y'all can go outside. So they did. Then they started, the canals were filling in. You can't run New Jersey intercoastal now at all, except by outboard, and you better be careful then because they filled in. And people forget, the reason they're there is for the tugboats. If the tugboats are not there, they don't have to maintain it. And a lot of times, the Corps engineer has told people, you don't need to come to these meetings and talk. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, and some of the people said, we don't need that river anymore for that purpose. And there was probably only about a half a dozen people at these meetings that caused this to happen, but it's happened. And now everybody's saying, well, we used to going through that. We've been doing that for years. Yeah. Well, get used to not doing it now. It's important for you to speak up when these people are doing dumb stuff. Okay.
So that's coming down the line. I know some people used to go way up in Georgia and Alabama, come all the way down to Apalachicola. It's been
my brother, when he was 14, with another friend of his, Charles Johnson, they were the same age, left Columbus and Phoenix City and came all the way to Panama City in a 14-foot skiff that Dad built for him in the backyard, and had a ball. Learned a lot about the river and boating and everything. Yeah. And it was sponsored by the Lions Club back then. But My brother's 70-something years old, so that's a long time ago.
Yeah, I know that had been a lot of fun back then. Now listen, we're going to take a final break. We'll come back. We had this storm hit way out in Louisiana, but we still had a lot of activity going on here in the Panhandle as a result of that storm. We're going to come back and talk about what we did with some of these boats and some of the boat yards and all that. So we'll take our final break and be right back.
On the water or under the water, success starts at C&G Sporting Goods. C&G specializes in fresh and saltwater fishing tackle, floundering supplies, spearfishing equipment, and much, much more. C&G also has licenses, maps, and expert advice on where to go. For over 59 years, C&G Sporting Goods has been the headquarters for the outdoors man. Fishing, hunting, camping, guns, and ammo. They've got it all. C&G, home of the experts, downtown Panama City.
When you have work to do, get it done with the powerhouse of engineering, reliability, and value that is Kubota. And right now, during our 40-year strong celebration, get 0 down and 0% APR for up to 60 months on new Kubota utility and ag tractors and tractor loader backhoes. Join the Kubota movement, 40 years strong, serving the American dream.
See and save on all Kubota tractors and equipment at Sowell Tractor today.
Bill Kramer needs to buy vehicles outright or take them in on trade. Our pre-owned business is great, and we need your vehicle this week to supplement our pre-owned inventory. Get a 15-minute no-obligation appraisal. We're buying Fords, Chevys, and Cadillacs. We're buying Toyotas, Nissans, BMWs, and more. You name it, we'll buy it. All years, all models. Nothing too old, nothing too new. Bill Kramer is buying them all, and we will not be outbid at Bill Kramer's Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC.
Are you still waiting to do something with your IRA, 401k, annuities, or other investments?
My dad has an economics degree from Vanderbilt University, and he helped me with my homework. A lot of people call themselves financial planners, but my dad passed a board exam to be a certified financial planner. He's very easy to talk to, and he spends a lot of time with me.
To my existing clients, thank you for your friendship and loyalty through these uncertain times, and to everyone else, don't wait until it's too late. Call me today, and let's see if I can help.
All right, welcome back. Today with Captain Rick Corley. First, let's take a look at our fishing times today, brought to us by Express Lane. We're looking at our time this morning from 4:22 to 6:22. Okay, now look over there to the right, folks. I've lost one of our fish. I guess it swam off during Labor Day. I just got a little magnet over there. I blocked out this time for you. But this afternoon, we're going 4:45 to 6:45. And that's I'm gonna see if I can get us another fish this afternoon and bring one back tomorrow. But but that's the time. Two good times right there.
That's one in blockfish.
Yeah, some blockhead fish. We were talking about the big storm came up last week, and of course it didn't. The small storm really, but anytime we get one out in the Gulf, people just start moving around. I know you make a living off helping people with boats and all.
Yep.
And I got a really good a picture of Miller Marine. Mandy and Megan sent me a picture of how many their boat yard was just packed up. And
all of our shipyards were chock-a-block full of boats, and you can't
which is
get
so
all
smart. They get them out of the water.
Absolutely. Boat US keeps up with how things happen, when they happen, and what they cost. Mm-hmm. And they're the largest boat insurance company in the world. And they found that if they'll pay half of your cost if you put it on the hill, because even if it were to fall over, it does less damage than it does if it sinks at the dock, especially in salt water, because salt water it ruins all the electrical, and that's very expensive, and the engines possibly. So if you can, haul out. If you can't, one of the neat places to go is go up in the intercoastal waterway between Choctawhatchee Bay and West Bay, because they got real high banks, and you're actually sitting down in a hole, and the wind blows over the top of it, and it's not bad. I've actually, when I was running tugs and barges up and down the intercoastal, I've sat there through storms like Eloise.
Yeah.
That's where I was. I was in that hole.
Well, that's a good tip, brother, especially sort of medium-sized boat owners who don't want to necessarily haul it out, but you got to keep it in the water.
Yep.
And that's a great place to go.
Yeah, you can go up there and take you one of those extension ladders where you can get off the bow pretty easy. Ease the bow up on the bank. Go over. Don't find the biggest tree out there, because it can be blown over. And you don't want the smallest tree, because you can pull it over. But find a medium-sized tree. Give yourself plenty of line. You probably need 300 feet for a bow line at least. And back off and put out a stern anchor out in the middle of the canal. and then you can just sit there, because the longest run of wind you'll have is about 2 miles, and you're down low, so it's not going to blow more than probably 25, 30 mile an hour. Well, you can hold that in an anchor. And the high winds will be over your head. They'll be up above, because people don't realize, in there around mile 260, the banks are over 100 foot high.
That's a good point. Also, when I was going across the Tyndall Bridge, quite a few of them over there in Pearl Bayou. Over there. That's a good place there. As you go on the Tyndall property, that little bayou.
Also up at Fannin Bayou, way up there, back in there towards Miller, only take the left fork and go back in there. There's a lot of boats will go up there.
I saw boats going in there too. So anywhere you can get out of that big wind, and the water's going to rise up a little bit, but it's the waves and the wind that's going to really damage the boat.
And if you get far enough back like that, or you get in a pocket like that, just remember that you need to be at least 10 to 1 on your scope, and that's with the full high water. Well, if you get an 8 or 10 foot storm surge, you started out in 8 or 10 feet of water. Now you're 16 to 20 feet. So I would usually use 20 foot as my gauge on how much line to put out.
Yeah, and you certainly want to protect the boat. Of course, you want to protect yourself and all. But that if the insurance company is going to pay half of the expense for hauling it out, and they charge by the foot. The boat yards charge by the foot. Is how they do it.
Yes, they do.
And that's good.
It's not cheap, but neither is the boat if you lose it.
That's true. Now, let's get back. I was still interested in the Alaska trip. We're talking about that. Now, you went with a travel agency, if some people want to do something?
Yeah, I went with Alan Spears. Alan has been doing this for 20-something years. He's experienced. He's already found out what is good and fun and a good spend for the money. So a lot of that, I could talk to him and say, hey, nah, that's not so good. Yes, this is. And it was. Everything that I did was worth the money. And by going to him, I feel like I got my nickel's worth, where if I'd have done it willy-nilly on my own, I might have, there's some things up there that are basically scams. I mean, it's like anything. You go to some of them, it's tourist traps, but some of it is very good. It's like going on the cruise ships down in the Caribbean. Some of them are worth going to, but you got to know, and the only way to know is talk to somebody that's been before. But Alan has been doing it for over 20 years, and it was a really wonderful trip. And he has Nervic Travel.
Nervic Travel, okay.
Downtown.
All right, very good. Now, we've got a couple minutes left. Let's talk about smaller boats. We're at the end of the summer. Actually, Labor Day's over, so summer, technically is officially over, but still, with our boats and all, what our small boat owners, what would they need to be doing with their boats by this time of year?
Well, you're still going to be using them, but one of the things is don't ever use ethanol gas in a boat. It's just terrible. And if you got fiberglass fuel tanks, absolutely not. But the other thing is if you do use ethanol, put some kind of stability, Stabil or something like that in the gas. Crank that engine every 10 days to 2 weeks, because if you don't, when you go to crank it, it's not going to run, because you get a shellac on the jets in the carburetors or the injectors, and it won't idle, so it won't crank. If it does, it'll crank and quit. If you do crank it every 10 days to 2 weeks, when you get ready to use it, it'll work.
Okay.
Now, when it gets to the time of freezing and all, you need to be sure that you, if it's an inboard, drain the water off or put antifreeze in for sure.
That sounds good. And we got this is my favorite time of year in a boat, really.
October is the best month for boating in Panama City.
Well, Rick, thanks for coming on, buddy. Appreciate it.
Enjoy.
All right, folks. Thank you all for watching the show. You do something good for somebody today, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.